From the very moment of his birth, William was marked by circumstances that would shape a legend. Born in 1028 as the illegitimate son of Duke Robert I of Normandy and Herleva, a woman of humble origins, William's existence was immediately fraught with danger and doubt. In a society where bloodline dictated power, his status as a bastard cast a shadow over his claim to any position of authority. Yet the young William showed a resilience and cunning beyond his years, qualities that would become his trademarks. His childhood was no idyll but a harrowing journey through a landscape riddled with betrayal and violence. After his father's death in 1035, the Duchy of Normandy fell into chaos. Powerful barons, sensing weakness in the child duke, launched plots to seize control, often through assassination attempts. Historical accounts from chroniclers, like William of Poitiers, emphasized the precariousness of William's youth, describing a boy who was forced to learn the art of war and politics by sheer necessity. His survival owed as much to divine favor as to the loyalty of a select group of knights, who pledged themselves to protect the boy. As William matured, so did his grasp on power. By his teenage years, he had quelled rebellious nobles and solidified his control over Normandy. But his ambitions extended beyond his duchy. Across the English Channel, King Edward the Confessor's childless reign was creating a vacuum of power that many sought to fill. William claimed that Edward had promised him the throne, a claim supported by the alleged oath of Harold Godwinson, the powerful Earl of Wessex. This pledge, sworn on sacred relics during Harold's visit to Normandy in 1064, is a subject of intense historical debate. Some historians, including Frank Barlow, argue that the Norman chroniclers embellished or fabricated this to justify William's invasion. Regardless of the truth, these claims set the stage for a conflict that would change England forever. In the spring of 1066, William began the meticulous preparation for his invasion. The logistics of assembling hundreds of ships and thousands of men were staggering for the medieval era. He drew knights and soldiers from Normandy, Brittany, Flanders, and beyond, promising riches and land in England to those who would fight for him. His cause was bolstered by the support of Pope Alexander II, who provided a papal banner, framing the invasion as a righteous crusade. The crossing was delayed by harsh weather, a cruel test of patience and resolve for the Norman forces. Meanwhile, across England, Harold Godwinson prepared to defend his newly claimed crown. Harold's situation worsened dramatically when Harald Hardrada, the King of Norway, invaded northern England. Harold marched his forces rapidly north and met Hardrada at the Battle of Stamford Bridge in September 1066. The battle was fierce and decisive. Hardrada was killed, and the Viking threat was quelled. However, the victory came at a cost. Harold's army was exhausted, depleted, and far from southern England, where William's invasion fleet was finally landing at Pevensey Bay. The stage was set for one of history's most famous clashes, the Battle of Hastings. On October 14, 1066, the two armies faced each other on Senlac Hill. Harold's army, primarily infantry, took a defensive stance atop the ridge, forming a nearly impenetrable shield wall. William's forces consisted of a balanced mix of archers, infantry, and cavalry units whose coordination and flexibility would be critical in overcoming the English defense. The battle began with volleys of arrows raining down from the Norman archers, attempting to weaken the shield wall. The English held firm, their interlocked shields absorbing the barrage. William launched repeated cavalry charges uphill, a difficult maneuver that tested both men and horses. At one point, a rumor that William had fallen spread among the Normans, causing confusion and retreat. William's decisive act of revealing his face and rallying his troops by shouting, "Look at me, I live, and with God's help, I will conquer," turned the tide of the battle. Through tactical feints and feigned retreats, William's forces succeeded in breaking sections of the shield wall. Harold himself was killed in the fighting, famously believed to have been struck in the eye by an arrow, though some historians debate this detail. With their leader dead, English resistance collapsed, and the Normans claimed a hard-fought victory. But victory on the battlefield was just the beginning. William's subsequent campaign to secure his rule was brutal. He faced widespread revolts, especially in the north, where his harrying of the North campaign involved systematic destruction of farms, villages, and towns, leading to famine and death. This scorched earth policy was designed to break the will of any rebellion and to demonstrate the harsh consequences of defying Norman rule. To cement his authority, William implemented sweeping changes to English governance. He redistributed land to his Norman followers, effectively replacing the Anglo-Saxon nobility. The construction of castles across England served both as military strongholds and symbols of Norman domination. The Tower of London, begun under William's orders, stands today as a testament to this era of transformation. William also commissioned the Domesday Book in 1085, a monumental survey that catalogued the landholdings and resources of his kingdom. This unprecedented document was a tool for taxation and control, giving William detailed knowledge of his realm and allowing him to govern with unprecedented precision. Despite his success in England, William's rule was a balancing act between his two titles, King of England and Duke of Normandy. He remained deeply involved in continental politics, often returning to Normandy to defend his duchy against French ambitions. In 1087, while besieging the French town of Mantes, William suffered a fatal injury. His deathbed was marked by turmoil and a fragmented legacy. His lands were divided among his sons, sowing seeds of future conflict. William's conquest changed the course of English history irrevocably. His reign introduced Norman culture, reshaped the English language, restructured the feudal system, and altered the very fabric of society. Historian David Bates summarized his impact succinctly. No ruler before or after changed England so completely in so short a time. Beyond the military triumphs and political maneuvers, William's reign fundamentally altered the cultural and social landscape of England. The Norman conquest introduced a ruling elite that spoke Old French, a language that would mingle with Old English to birth Middle English, the linguistic ancestor of the modern tongues spoken today. This fusion was not instantaneous but unfolded over generations, creating a layered society where identity, law, and custom were constantly renegotiated. The aristocracy adopted Norman customs, legal codes, and architectural styles, while the vast majority of the population continued their traditional Anglo-Saxon ways, creating a cultural duality that shaped England's medieval identity. William's legacy also transformed the English Church. Many Anglo-Saxon bishops and abbots were replaced with Normans loyal to the new regime, consolidating William's power not only over the secular realm, but also within religious institutions. This alignment with the Church gave William a veneer of divine approval, and enabled him to enforce reforms that aligned English Christianity more closely with continental practices. The reform movements of the 11th century, often linked to the Gregorian reforms, found a strong advocate in William, who saw a well-organized church as essential to a stable kingdom. Finally, William's personal story remains a compelling testament to the complexity of medieval rulership. He was a man of contradictions, both ruthless and pragmatic, a harsh conqueror and an innovative administrator. His reign was marked by brutal repression and grand visions of order and control. The castles he built, the records he commissioned, and the wars he fought were all tools to impose his will on a fractured land. Yet through all this, William's story is one of extraordinary resilience. The illegitimate child who defied his beginnings to shape a nation and leave an indelible mark on history.